Hi, and welcome everyone to another, and today very special, Atos Smart Manufacturing Fireside Chat. When I say really special, it is today we have episode number 10. And while we were talking with the participants that I can welcome today in our call, we say like, today is really a very, very special episode and a special milestone. Thank you all for your interest and already putting in some questions before we even started the session. Today, we're going to talk about automated product carbon footprint calculation. And I'm very, very happy. Then we can shed some more light on what it is needed for. And today, I have some great speakers with me on stage. For your participants all, if you have any questions, you can just place them right here into the chat directly under the video, and we'll be happy to tackle those questions if we can do in the time. So, as I mentioned, first of all, let me welcome one of my first speakers of today's session, which will be Allesandro Pistillo, Director, Digital Strategic Project at BASF. I'm very happy that you're here. Hi, Allesandro.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Guido.
It's so great that you took time today for really tackling that topic and telling the whole world and the audience of what we've been up to over the last couple of months, what we co-created and what it brings to others. But let's come to that a little later. Secondly, I'm so happy to have you in again here, Stefan Unterhuber, Senior Director, Decarbonization at Atos. And Stefan, it's already our second session, so I think you enjoyed the first one, huh?
Yes, I did a lot. I feel like a veteran.
A veteran. So you are in your second session, in the 10th session. But now let's stretch not how far we have gone with the Fireside Chat itself. Let's go into the topic itself. Decarbonization is at the heart of communication at so many companies, individuals, in the news and everywhere. And we also heard quite often that it's so hard needed that we have real data to really know what it is all about, where it comes from and where it goes. Today, we're doing something special talking about a PCF. And when I was reading it in my preparation, I was like, what is a PCF? And I found some abbreviations on that. I would now point that question to you, and I would be so happy if you could tell us what is a PCF and what is it good for, Allesandro, please?
Sure. Well, with all these acronyms, right, it's really, really difficult to follow up. So PCF stands for Product Carbon Footprint. It's basically a measurement of the emissions that are associated to the manufacturing and finally also the use of any product. So it indicates basically in a form of a kilogram of CO2 equivalents, what is the climate change impact of any consumer product that me and you or everybody else is purchasing. So it's a fundamental numbers and a fundamental quantity, which will be more and more important moving forward, because we all know that climate change is literally the hottest topic nowadays.
Well, you're absolutely right on that. So the PCF will be a number, sort of an index where people can rely on understanding really. And when we talk about the carbon footprint, my question would also be like, what does it cover from where to where? And I hope you can also shed a little light on that. Stefan, from your point of view, PCF, what is it? How important is it for what we are all talking about? Climate change, decarbonization, supply chain management, and all those different topics.
So in this case, what we are looking at when we talk about this automated PCF calculation tool that we want to talk about today, then we cover scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 upstream. Anybody already dealing with those topics will immediately understand what scope 1, 2, and 3 is. But for those who are not familiar with it, this covers all the emissions that are caused by your direct company emissions. So basically what happens at your production site, emissions by energy that you buy, that would be scope 2 indirect, so emissions that the utility provider has caused, but you are indirectly causing by consuming that energy from that utility provider. And last but not least, scope 3 upstream emissions, which is in short, the raw material that you use to produce a product. And that's what we consider in the PCF calculation tool that we want to talk about.
So that's really just like a broad look, but then a clear number indicating really one thing of a product and a single line. And we might find that in product descriptions, especially also if we go into ordering products, or if we just like deciding on what products we're going for. So price might be one of the things, but also the PCF might be one of the things, changing the way we think about products, the sustainability, and also like how we purchase that. And Allesandro, I see you nodding. So this is, I'm really getting it. So that might be just like a KPI you created, and that's co-created, which is really, this is just a number, and it's like distributed, and there is a clear way of how it was calculated. People can rely on, right? So,
Absolutely, Friso. Let me add also one thing, which I think is very important, also to understand why product carbon footprint are important. I think everybody of us knows the relevance of climate change, right? And we all know how difficult it is to tackle this global challenge. You need several things to come to terms with that, right? You need regulation, you need industry transformation, but fundamentally, you also need to drive a consumer behavior change. What does it mean specifically? It means that we as consumer, or any consumer, eventually now and in the future increasingly, will start to argue and compare products, also consumer products. Let's think about a shampoo or cosmetics or a car or anything, right? To compare, well, this product and this product, okay, they have a different price, they have a different packaging, different performance, but they also have a different emission impact, right? A different impact to climate change. So having transparency at product level, at consumer product level, what is the product carbon footprint is fundamental also to drive consumer behavior change. Now, this is a nice idea, but fundamentally today, it's not possible to do something like that because there is not sufficient transparency along the production and value chain about what is exactly the carbon footprint associated to the manufacturing of each product. Therefore, it's absolutely important and necessary in the future that any company manufacturing products down to the consumer level, so the consumer product, will eventually have to calculate carbon footprints for their own products in order to create this sort of transparency that currently are lacking. So you understand that it's more than just a number. It's a number which is intended to change and drive customer behavior.
Yeah, but I have to say, Allesandro, that you're in a very good position here, right? Because the company you work for, BASF, you already have a solution that can do that for 45,000 products. And that is, I think you should mention that you have already mastered this huge challenge.
Absolutely, and it's true, and there are perhaps multiple reasons for that, right? On one side, as a representative of a large chemical company, so in a very energy-intensive industry, right? So the chemical industry, it is our responsibility to cope and deal with the climate change, right? On the other side, the chemical industry is with rights mentioned like being the mother of all industry, because if you think about anything in the material world is made out of chemicals. Therefore, most of the items you buy anywhere have chemicals in it, which have been manufactured by one or the other chemical companies. Many of those also from BASF. Therefore, it is absolutely important that the chemical industry and BASF, as a member of it, to drive this change. And we are very proud to have developed a very comprehensive methodology and digital solution to approach this problem, so calculation of product carbon footprint at scale in a very effective way.
Wow, and it's really, we're talking about 45,000 products already at the current moment, and there's just like a lot of thought and a lot of work that went into that project, setting that up, making that possible. And now, Allesandro, you're here with us, sharing the idea. So is it like, why did BASF decide to give their solution away? It sounds like, in a way, it's not really open source, yes, but it's like, why sharing? Is that something what I can say in that way?
We're very happy about it.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question indeed. In fact, we developed this solution as an internal solution initially, and we did not plan to give it away, as you say already. We did not plan to bring it to the market. But we then realized two things. On one side, we said, well, there is an urgent need in the industry, and not just the chemical industry, for standardization, right? Mm-hmm. For a way to calculate carbon footprints in a comparable way, and not eventually having apples and oranges to compare, right? Mm-hmm. So we thought that we are much better off to bring this solution into the market in order to drive and foster standardization in the calculation of carbon footprint, and keep it for ourselves. On the other side, it was very obvious that there is a need for a solution as such in the industry. And we were already approached by multiple peers who were quite interested in this solution. So we thought that the best way to bring this solution to the market is to do it by partnering with companies, and there the contact with Atos took place, right? And perhaps now, Stefan, you can explain how it all unfolded.
That will be great, and thank you for this. Maybe just like shortly before we go into that, yes, dear audience, you saw, yes, these were questions we prepared. Please use the comment box on the right-hand side of the video. If it's not shown up, just reload the page for a second, and then you will be able to comment there and place questions to the audience. I'm sorry for that, but this is an interactive session. It's not pre-recorded. It's not pre-scripted. This is not what we do in the Fireside Chats. So this is what I have to point out, like, use your way of bringing in your questions. Thank you. Sorry, back to you, Stefan.
Oh, I didn't know we were live.
Oh, yeah. I pressed the button. It said, like, are you sure? And I said, yes, sure. That's so important. We need to share that.
Okay, great. So for us, that was a great decision by BASF to go out with their solution and look for partners. And we were the first to raise our hand and say, hey, we're in for this, because we immediately understood the beauty of that concept, and also the power of the solution to offer something to the industry that is fully automated and covers the full portfolio. I can't stress that enough, because that's what I think is at the core, at the heart of it. We understood before that companies, like especially chemical companies, were doing product carbon footprint calculations, but not for all of their products. And they had to do it manually, and it was quite labor intense to do that work. And when there is now a solution where you can do it fully automated for all your products, how often you need to do it, based on actual primary data that you take out of your systems, your enterprise systems, and out of the systems of your partners and companies you work with, then that's absolutely something that we want to be part of as an IT company. And now, more than an IT company, we also are a climate advisory company. So this is a solution where we can combine our EcoAct expertise with our Atos IT expertise. So for us, it was no question. We were raising our hand immediately and said, yes, where do we have to sign?
Oh, that's perfect. That's also like the questions, like, why did we sign? Why did we step in? I know from you, and I know you, Kwago, that you are really living those topics, Stefan. You are just like, you are the incorporation of decarbonization, behaving different, helping people to understand, and a partnership like that on a qualification level, that's really something you were looking for, and you were absolutely after it. We do have one of the questions that coming in, and we were talking about the partnerships, and I hope that's fine for you. If we just shed some light, if we're open, that is like, what qualifications are necessary for the partnership. And I will just like move the question out of your face because it's fine for me, so I'm not stretching that. Maybe we can answer that question shortly, if that's fine for you.
Allesandro,
who wants to take that? Yeah.
Perhaps I take it, it's good to see from the double perspective, right? The topic, absolutely. So for us, it was, the several factors were important, of course, right? Reach, right? Capabilities, in terms of development capabilities and marketing of digital product. Capability to integrate the product in existing IT system infrastructures, basically integration capabilities. But last but not least, you need to want it. You need to have it embedded in your strategy. You need to have a team behind it, and the combination of all these factors eventually led to a selection of some partners, right? And as Stefan was saying, Atos was the first one to raise its hand. So, and I don't know, Stefan, what you think and what is your perspective on this?
Yeah, that was a good decision. Yeah, we haven't regretted it yet. No, we are very happy with that partnership, and I think it was the combination of what I just said, that we can talk to the life cycle assess to the LCA practitioners with our own LCA practitioners and understand their trouble on how burdensome the manual data collection is, and we can ease their pain when it comes to the methodology discussion. We can build up confidence because we can exactly explain how it works and which guidelines we follow and how it is according to the norms and to the standards. And we can also have an eye-level discussion with the IT people at the chemical companies and ease their pain, because they are worried, okay, how are you going to work with my data? How are you going to access my primary data? Are you going to change that? Or what's the interface with it? How are you going to secure it? How are you going to operate it? That I think that is key to also be successful in the short and midterm now, to bring that discussions, to spread that discussions among the LCA people and among the IT people at the same time, bring them around the same table. We learned that was already one of the wins that we generate at the customer if we come there and bring LCA people and IT people around the same table and talk about that topic from both angles, because then they say, yeah, we should have done that a while ago, because that is the key to an automated platform.
Right.
Yeah.
Allesandro, you wanted to add something, right? Please go ahead.
Well, I like that perspective, Stefan, and I think that indeed running and launching a chemical company or any company a transparency program on product carbon footprint requires indeed the convergence of multiple competencies, right? And it's not just IT. Actually, IT is one side of the coin, but there are actually even more than two sides. And the four elements, I would say, are IT competency or IT people from the IT department, but also, of course, sustainability experts of each company. Yeah. But we have not to forget that we are talking about here with a sort of accounting topic, right? Yeah. You are not accounting money and financials KPI, but you're accounting emissions. Therefore, accounting people and controlling people is a third group of people who need to be part of this multidisciplinary team if you want to run a professional transformation program like this. And last but not least, technologists, right? People who have that deep knowledge in the production processes of every company and can spot out in the validation phase of the tool and of the solution how plausible the results are. Do we need to tweak something? Do we need to correct something? Is the data quality okay? So these 4 ingredients are indeed very important to have a successful transformation project of this type.
Thank you so much, Alessandro. When you're talking about those 4 sides of the coin, maybe another, but it's quite important, but also to understand. No, you have to flip it and reflip it, which is fine. It's like USB. You know, the 3rd time you plug it in, it works, and it just has 2 sides. So that's fine. So it is not just like a one moment thing or just a decision and then you're done. It also sounds like quite some work and preparation and being clear. This is what you mentioned. On the other hand, it's like also, and there is another question that came in by Julian in regard of incorporating that manual work, but also automation. As we're talking about an automated platform or an automated process, like what about RPA in that? Is that something that is in there? Just really asking from that high level, how automated is it, to be honest, and to be what has to be done, and what are future levels or future iterations of this?
I don't know if you want to take this, Stefan, but I mean, RPA is, I mean, could be a way, right, to integrate the data on the input side with the digital solution on the other side. So rather than hardwired integration, right, use an RPA layer for that. That's thinkable. Whether this is the solution that will then prevail or will be then explored, then I think this is too early to be said. But I don't know, Stefan, what you think?
Oh, I have a similar view like you, Alessandro. So on RPA tool, companies might want to use RPA tools on the input side, on the primary data level, where they are going to collect their data and prepare them for being ingested into the automated PCF tool. One of the things that also we had to learn immediately from Atos side, PCF calculations are not real-time data transactions. So we're not talking about collecting sensor data from any factory to need to show the real-time PCF. That's not how it works in most of the cases. We're working with historical data, sometimes even 1 year, 3 year averages that we're using to have an accurate PCF result. It's a different thing to look at live emission data or automate some process decision-making processes. For, let's say, we turn the heat up a bit, we turn the heat down a bit. That's not what we're talking here about, to reduce emissions in a live process. What we talk here is if we can say with high confidence and high accuracy, producing 1 kilogram of that chemical in average has that amount of CO2 for an unpackaged 1 kilogram unpackaged good at the gate of the company. And there are strict rules on what data we can get in there. We cannot take only, for example, we cannot take only summer energy data where we only use renewables from sun. We have to take a 1 year average on energy intake, because to have seasonal effects flattened out. So this is a requirement, for example. So all of these things need to be considered here, and that's why we're not talking about a real-time application where it's about milliseconds. So
perhaps I can add some other things to improve the understanding behind the solution. The solution indeed has 2 main purposes. One is a reporting purpose, so it's a carbon accounting solution, right? To report how much PCF, right? Every product has. And the second purpose is strategic steering, right? So, for example, being capable to assess what-if scenarios, right? So if I now change the way I source raw material, if I now change the way I source energy, if I now change the way I manufacture product, what is the impact on my final product that I produce? So these are the key purposes, I would say, of the digital solution right now. I think it's important probably to be said to have have a good understanding in the audience also.
Yeah. Let me maybe add for clarity. The way I'm sometimes describing the usage phases of the tool there are 3 phases of usage that we believe the tool would have over its life course of a couple of an implementation phase. The first one would be to validate and verify the results. So you calculate the footprint automatically for all your products, and then you check if that is in line with your expectations, and you validate, you verify until you have a result that is accurate and that you can publish. The next, or in parallel, you will also start what Allesandro said, to optimize, strategically steer. You will identify the obvious parts where you can reduce your emissions by changing the raw material, by optimizing the production process. And then we believe there will be a simulation phase also, where, again, in parallel to the optimization phase, but much more sophisticated, which is not so obvious. Yeah? You see there's a big impact from the production process. That's an obvious thing to improve. But what happens if you change a production from site A to site B in a different country? It's not immediately obvious what effects that would have, but with a tool like that, you would see intercompany transfer emissions, you would see the different energy mix from that country going in the emission factors. So with a simulation capability, you can then, in our view, optimize the last 20% of reduction potential that you have in a PCF.
Well, but 20% is quite a lot, and
The
if
last
you are
20%.
then and of course the last, but if you are then capable of doing those easy calculations, really, that you can say with the PCF, you can go for simulations, model building, and all that. Well, I think that's just a great thing, because what you could do is change the way you process, and then you would have to recalculate and think about all that again. If I have PCF for all those parts and process steps and all that, for example, that makes it more easy and more feasible. You were mentioning about data and data accuracy, about like this doesn't have to be in the millisecond, but right now, this is now one of the first times ever where you say there is a PCF which is as accurate as it can be at the current time. Because what we learned over time is that for many different things, right now, data is not available at all, or not complete at all. So right now, I think, as there was also a question, we are at the level of the highest accuracy we can get right now. But on the other hand, and this also brings me to one of the questions I have prepared, is like, what can customers expect? Now, there is that thing here. We were talking about partnerships. We were talking about integration into systems. We were talking about a standard. On the other hand, we have a question about, like, is it just like a partnership for legal entities? But it's now, what can customers expect? Where is that all leading? Where is it going? How will it evolve? Because we have taken out a huge, great step, baseline. What's next?
Maybe I can start, and Allesandro, you
Please.
We've signed a multi-year contract, BASF and Atos, to cooperate on this. So the way we are splitting the responsibility in a nutshell is, we are here to help roll out and operate the solution at every client that is interested to have it, and we will make sure that is in line with the methodology, and that the methodology is going to be unchanged. So we have this transparency and comparability of the result. And BASF customers can expect that BASF will keep the methodology up to date and in line with the expectations from ISO norms, etc., chemical best practices. So we will make sure together that every customer that gets that solution will have something that is compliant and that is in line with the expectations from the chemical market, and that it is comparable, which is the goal, to have a de facto industry standard on how to do a PCF calculation.
Perfect. Thank you. Allesandro.
Yeah, in a nutshell, we have licensed our digital solution to our partners, right? Like Atos, and then this enables now some other peers, some other suppliers, customers, even competitors, to reach out to Atos, for example, and have the possibility not reinvent the wheel, right, and approach the topic of calculating product carbon footprint in a standardized way, and get a powerful solution delivered by Atos, basically, right? So the actual implementation of the software solution at the final chemical company or any industry company will be then done by Atos, by our software partners. It will not be by BASF. Of course, we are very keen on providing maybe change management support and advice should this be requested moving forward.
Yeah.
That's very clear. And ensure governance on the methodology to calculate product carbon footprint.
That's perfect, and thank you for addressing this, because that also means there was one question coming in, and we said we're going to take all the questions. It's like, if it's not just like an integrator, but let's say a consortium, and in the manufacturing area, there are groups coming up together who are driving change on the different way. We see companies working together. How is it with that? Where could a consortium connect there and be part, like in the change management, in the consulting, and then finding the right integration partner at core from the technical part? Is that something you could imagine?
Not sure I got this question right, but obviously, I wouldn't say there are consortia, but there are industry associations, which are we are also part of as a BASF, which are exactly dealing with the topic, for example, to align on a final consensus on methodology, right? And well, the thing is pretty simple. If the industry will then agree on a methodology to calculate product carbon footprint, which perhaps slightly different from what is currently in the tool, then it's very simple to change it and align to it, right? And that's what we will obviously do. The point is that there is an urgent need for a solution in the industry right now, and you know how difficult it is sometimes to reach consensus in large group organization and industry association. Mm-hmm. So it's good to gain time. It's good to have something already out in the market, and then aligning a set of rules to an industry consensus when this has been reached is very simply done.
Thank you so much for that view. I think that's quite important. As you're saying, like, there have to be things done. It has to be integrated and all that. There is a question that must be here. And I would like to take that also, like, what is the cost of implementing this? Yeah, because we are now talking always about cost versus what can we do out of that. The question will be, it depends, of course, on size, on products, and integration, on systems and all that. But is there something like, you could say, a percentage of investment that brings you X, Y, Z? I'm just the guy asking those questions, you know?
Yeah, you're putting me in a very tight spot here to stay compliant. What we can say is that it's after all, it is a strategic topic for chemical companies to have that, and it's gonna create great value for them. On the other hand, it's something that is done today by a small team of LCA practitioners that buy some licenses for some tools to support it, or database access. So we need to stay within the expectations of the industry. So let me say, it's not millions. Yeah, it's not millions, not at all. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely affordable, and it's comparable to the benefit, to the gains that it brings to have a full portfolio PCF calculation tool. It's some of the effort is obviously done by Atos and our consultants, our system integrators, our software developers, our own LCA practitioners. So we bring a lot of that to the table, but there's also some cost and investment by the customers that engage with us, because they need to work with us on the IT integration, they need to work with us on the requirements engineering, as it's not a plug-in tool that you just install and then you press the play button, because we have primary data that we take out of the systems, and we really have to make that fully automated, integrated into the data models that our customers use. So there is some some cost, initial cost in getting that implemented, and also some cost in keeping it validated and verified. So there is some skilled people at our client side that you require. And then of course there is some services that we'll provide to keep it running. There's some license cost on the methodology for the product so that we can develop it further. But I hope you understand that I cannot talk about pricing here today. I can just give an order of magnitude and some indications.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we as BASF cannot really provide any hints, of course, right? But just think about BASF. We needed to develop this tool, right? Originally for us, right? And certainly the cost for us to develop the tool, having the necessity to invent it, create it, and having no scale effect whatsoever, right? Because we did it just for us. Was certainly more expensive than what it would be for any client of Atos moving forward, I would say, to implement it. And for us, actually, it was not even a question of whether we have an alternative, because honestly, no ways we would have been managed. We would be managing with our, even with our large team of LCA practitioners, and technologies. No way we would have been able, without the tool, to calculate 45,000 product carbon footprint with that scale and with that accuracy and consistency. So basically, that's really a quantum leap of efficiency and a quantum leap in value that especially the world of today and the pressing demand for to curb climate change is making as an imperative, right? So I can say that we honestly couldn't do without the tool as a BASF right now.
Okay. Well, thank you. And I didn't want to put you into pressure, but on the other hand, it's like, let's say, and summing up, there are questions. We want to understand that it's so important. You see, we couldn't do it without a tool. So it might even be more expensive not implementing something like this, yeah, than the other way around. Thank you all. Also, thank you for being that open and being that authentic that we took the questions from the audience. That was awesome. Looking at the time, we plan to go for 30 minutes and it's still going on, which I love to. And I need to make sure that we're going for episode 11, 12, 13, and 14. So I would love to welcome you back and maybe talk a little later about the tool and how it evolves. At this moment, I would like to thank everyone. I would like to thank you, Stefan, for being with us today. Was another great second Fireside Chat with you. That's perfect. Thank you. And also to you, Allesandro. It was a pleasure talking with you and seeing you smiling about like your passion about the tool and what was created that. Thank you for being with us today on stage.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Friso. Bye-bye. It was fun.
Super.
Thank you.
Super. For all the other ones, if you're interested in joining one of the other Fireside Chats, you've already seen it. Have a look at our events page where we're going to list all the other Fireside Chats. Please also let us know what topics would be of interest for you. We are not just covering the manufacturing market, but the topics that are really of matter and are really important. We're looking forward to see you soon in one of our next sessions. Thank you for being with us today. And I will close this video today with a short summary video on the solution itself for you. Have a great day. Thank you for watching and bye-bye.
With more and more companies committing to net zero, understanding and reducing the greenhouse gas emissions of their products is an essential step in the process. BASF has created a simple, efficient digital solution to measure and track the product carbon footprint, or PCF, of their entire portfolio. In partnership with BASF, Atos is bringing this solution to the chemicals and process industry to accelerate the adoption of a standard PCF calculation with the data-driven, transparent, and fully automated Atos PCF platform. The Atos PCF platform takes into account all Scope 1 direct greenhouse gas emissions from your production processes, Scope 2 emissions from the energy your company purchases, and upstream Scope 3 emissions from the raw materials used within your plants. It integrates your existing systems and databases to aggregate the required data to accurately calculate the PCF for all your products. It's fully automated and complies with all relevant standards and protocols. Knowing your PCF provides a clear differentiator by demonstrating your company's commitment to reduce emissions and adding valuable low-carbon products to your portfolio. It can also be a key source of innovation within your company, driving profitability and growth. And it helps you manage and mitigate risk, avoiding potential issues like carbon taxes. Now is the perfect time to schedule a live demo to explore the capabilities of the Atos PCF platform and find out how it can deliver value to your company. Learn more at atos.net.